My brothers and sisters, many of us say, I've been making dua for so long. Why isn't Allah responding? But the truth is, sometimes we don't even know how to ask. When you approach the King of all kings, you don't begin with demands, you begin with praise. You acknowledge His greatness, His mercy, His power, His knowledge. You say, Oh Allah, you are the most kind, the most generous. Everything I have is from you. Before the request, soften your heart. That is the key. And then admit your own need. Allah loves the servant who comes with humility. Say, Oh Allah, I am weak. I am struggling. I cannot do this without you. That moment of honesty, that surrender is more powerful than 1,000 empty words. When you finally ask with certainty. Don't say, if you can, if you want. You are asking the one who can do all things. You are asking the one who only has to say be, and it is. Ask with a heart that is convinced, absolutely convinced, that Allah will give you what is best. Be specific in your dua. If your heart is yearning for guidance, say it. If you are seeking healing, ask for it by name. If you want ease in your home, your marriage, your finances, express it clearly. Your dua is a conversation with the one who already knows your secrets. So speak to Him with sincerity. But remember, dua is not a switch you flip to get instant results. It is a seed. Some seeds grow overnight, others take years. But each one grows at the exact time Allah chooses. Don't give up because the fruits haven't appeared yet. Keep watering, keep asking, keep trusting. And finally, my beloved brothers and sisters, clean your heart and your actions. Don't lift the same hands that commit sin and expect purity to pour into them. Strive to live halal, to avoid harm, to repent often, and you will find your du'as gaining a strength you never imagined. So the next time you raise your hands, remember, start with praise. Soften your heart, ask with certainty, be sincere, remain patient, and live clean. You will see how your entire relationship with dua and with Allah transforms. Recognizing Allah's greatness before asking is one of the most profound and transformative elements of dua, yet it is the part most people rush through or skip entirely. Before the lips utter a request, the heart must first acknowledge who it is standing before. You are not asking another human being, limited in power, knowledge, or resources. You are addressing the Lord of the worlds, the one who created you, sustained you, protected you, forgave you, and continues to shower you with blessings you can never count. When the heart truly recognizes this, the entire nature of your dua changes. Many people approach dua as if they are simply listing their needs. They say, Oh Allah, give me this. Oh Allah, fix that. But dua is not a shopping list. Dua is an act of worship, an interaction with the most powerful. It begins with glorifying Him, praising Him, remembering His beautiful names, and acknowledging His perfection. When you start your dua by magnifying Allah, you are not merely following etiquette, you are preparing your soul, strengthening your faith, and clearing the path for your request to be accepted. Praise cleanses the heart of arrogance and self-reliance, reminding you that you are a servant, not the giver of outcomes. Imagine someone approaching a king. They would not immediately say, give me what I want. They would acknowledge the king's authority, respect, and status. And even that king with all his wealth has limitations. But you are calling upon the King of Kings, the one whose treasures never decrease, whose mercy has no boundaries, and whose power is beyond imagination. Shouldn't He be praised even more profoundly? When you begin your dua by recognizing Allah's greatness, it also brings perspective. The problems that felt overwhelming suddenly seem small when you remember the one you are speaking to. Your heart becomes calmer. Your trust increases. You begin to feel that whatever you are asking for is already within reach, because Allah's capability is absolute. The stress that drove you to dua softens into peace. This shift of mindset is itself a gift from Allah, brought about simply through glorifying Him before asking. Another reason this step is so important is that it trains you to be grateful. Praise and gratitude are connected. When you acknowledge Allah's greatness, your mind automatically revisits His favors in your life. You remember the countless moments He has carried you through difficulties, the blessings you live with every day without even noticing. You come to realize that the one who has never abandoned you in the past will not abandon you now. Gratitude unlocks positivity, and positivity strengthens your conviction that your dua will be answered in the best way. Recognizing Allah's greatness also means understanding His attributes deeply. When you call upon Him as Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, your heart fills with hope. When you remember that He is Al-Qawi, the most powerful, your doubts fade. When you call Him Al-Alim, the all-knowing, you trust that He knows the details of your pain, even if you cannot express them. When you remember He is Al-Hakim, the most wise, you understand that the timing of your answer is perfect. even if you don't see it yet. Calling upon Allah using His names is not just a formality. It aligns your heart with His qualities, making your dua deeper, more sincere and more connected. Before asking, you also acknowledge your own position. Recognizing Allah's greatness automatically reminds you of your neediness. This humbles you, softens you, and breaks the internal barriers between you and sincere supplication. When your heart is humble, your dua becomes real. It is no longer a memorized formula. It becomes a cry from deep within. That kind of dua is full of sincerity. And sincerity is what makes dua powerful. Beginning with praise is also following the practice of the prophets. When Prophet Yunus was in the belly of the whale, he did not begin with requests, he began with glorification. There is no deity worthy of worship except you, glory be to you. That praise alone became a means of rescue. When Prophet Musa asked Allah for help, he acknowledged Allah's greatness first. When Prophet Muhammad taught others to make dua, he advised them to begin with praising Allah and sending blessings upon the Prophet before making their request. This is not coincidence. It is a divine pattern that brings blessing and acceptance. Recognizing Allah's greatness builds a relationship. Dua becomes more than asking. It becomes remembering, expressing love, admiring and connecting with your Creator. It transforms your spiritual life. You begin to feel that dua is not something you schedule. It is something your heart naturally returns to, because remembering Allah brings comfort unlike anything else. This step also prevents frustration. When people jump straight into asking, they sometimes feel disappointed if the response doesn't come quickly. But when they begin with praise, their mindset shifts. They remember Allah's mercy, wisdom and generosity. With that remembrance, they understand that answered dua is not only about getting what you want, it is about receiving what is best. This awareness protects the heart from impatience, doubt and negativity. In truth, praising Allah before asking is not for Allah's benefit. He is already perfect, already praised by angels, already exalted by all creation. The benefit is for you. It opens your heart, strengthens your faith, calms your fears, deepens your sincerity and aligns your soul with certainty that Allah is listening. When you truly recognize His greatness, you no longer ask with hesitation or fear. You ask with confidence, humility and love. And when a servant asks in that state, their dua carries a weight unlike any other. Admitting your own weakness and dependence before making dua is one of the most powerful spiritual states a believer can experience. Many people think dua is only about asking, but in reality, it begins with acknowledging who you truly are in front of Allah. A servant in need, a heart that can break, a soul that gets tired, a human who makes mistakes and cannot survive without the help of the one who created everything. This humility is not a weakness. It is the greatest strength a believer can possess. Because when you lower yourself before Allah, He raises you. When you admit you cannot carry your burdens alone, He carries them for you in ways you could never imagine. There is a difference between someone who makes dua casually and someone who pours their heart out with complete honesty. When a person refuses to admit their need, their dua becomes dry, empty and disconnected. But when a person comes before Allah with a heart that admits, "Oh Allah, I can't do this without you," the barriers fall, the sincerity flows and the connection becomes real. Allah loves the servant whose heart is broken for His sake, whose pride is dropped and whose reliance shifts entirely toward Him. In moments like that, dua becomes more than words, it becomes surrender. When you openly admit your weaknesses to Allah, you are not informing Him of something He does not know. Allah already knows your fears, your wounds, your secrets, and the battles you fight silently. You acknowledge your weakness not because Allah needs the information, but because you need the transformation. You need your heart to soften. You need your soul to accept that you are not in control. You need to realize that your strength comes only from Him. This awareness breaks arrogance, heals spiritual numbness, and clears the path for sincere dua. Many people struggle internally because they are too proud or too ashamed to confront their own reality. They might complain to people, but they find it difficult to stand before Allah and say, "I am lost." Yet this is exactly what brings relief. When you admit your dependence on Allah, you are choosing the safest place to be honest. Allah will never mock your vulnerability. He will never turn you away for being weak. He will never shame you for crying or trembling or asking for help again and again. Instead, He rewards you for it. He loves you for it. He raises you because of it. Think of the prophets. Every one of them admitted weakness before Allah. Prophet Adam admitted his mistake and was forgiven. Prophet Yunus admitted his helplessness in the depths of darkness and Allah rescued him. Prophet Zakaria admitted his old age, his fear, his longing, and Allah blessed him with a miraculous child. Even the greatest of creation, the Prophet Muhammad, would lift his hands and say, "You are the most merciful, and I am in need of your mercy." This is the example of those loved by Allah. They humbled themselves before asking. Admitting weakness does not mean becoming hopeless. It means acknowledging that you are weak, but your Lord is not. It means saying, "I cannot, but you can." That shift in perspective removes anxiety from the heart. Suddenly your problems don't feel like mountains. They become manageable because you are no longer carrying them alone. You are placing them in the hands of the one who never tires, never fails, never sleeps, and never forgets. When the heart admits dependence, dua becomes deeper. Instead of reciting memorized lines, you begin to speak from your pain, your hopes, your fears, and your dreams. You begin to share the things you never tell anyone. You speak in your own language, your own style, your own voice. There is no need for fancy words. Allah does not look at the beauty of your language. He looks at the honesty of your heart. Even if the only words you can say are, "Oh Allah, help me," that plea spoken from true dependence is more powerful than 1,000 eloquent phrases spoken without sincerity. There is also a softness that comes with admitting weakness. Hard hearts struggle to make dua. They feel embarrassed, disconnected, or numb. But when you admit your fragility, the heart softens. Once the heart softens, tears come more easily, humility settles in, and the soul becomes ready to connect. Dua made with a soft heart is completely different from dua made with a hard one. The soft heart feels the closeness of Allah, while the hard heart feels only emptiness. So admitting weakness is not just emotional, it is spiritual cleansing. This state also protects you from relying too much on people. Many turn to others for comfort, solutions, or praise, forgetting that people are limited. They can support you, but they cannot control your destiny, change your fate, or fill the emptiness in your heart. When you admit your dependence on Allah, you detach from unhealthy attachments to people. You begin to understand that your primary connection must be with your Creator, the one who never disappoints. Admitting your weakness also frees you from the pressure of pretending. Life can make you feel like you must appear strong, composed, and unbothered. But in front of Allah, you don't need to act. You don't need to hide your tears or your fears. You don't need to be impressive. You just need to be sincere. There is an indescribable peace in being able to say, "Oh Allah, I am struggling. I am tired. I need you." Because once you admit that, Allah takes over in ways you could never take over for yourself. Ultimately, when you come to Allah admitting your weakness, you are returning to the natural state of a true believer. A servant who knows that all strength, all success, and all answers come from Allah alone. It is in that moment of true humility that dua becomes most powerful and the doors of mercy begin to open wide. Asking with certainty, not doubt, is one of the most essential principles of dua, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. Many people raise their hands and make requests, but their hearts whisper, "Will this really happen? Is Allah really listening? Will I ever see a change?" When doubt slips into a dua, it weakens it, drains its power, and closes the door to acceptance. Certainty, on the other hand, strengthens dua like nothing else. It transforms the plea from a hopeful wish into a confident declaration of trust in the one who controls everything. Certainty begins with recognizing that Allah hears every word you speak, even the ones you say silently. No dua is too small for Him to notice, and no dua is too big for Him to answer. Sometimes people hesitate to ask for something because they feel it's impossible. They think the situation is too complicated, the problem is too big, the person is too stubborn, the door is too closed. But when you believe in Allah's power, you understand that nothing is beyond Him. The entire universe exists by His command. Your situation, no matter how hard it seems, is simple for Him. When you ask with certainty, you speak from a place of trust. You don't wonder if Allah can do it. You know He can. You don't question His ability. You rely on it. Certainty means believing that Allah can turn the impossible into possible, the broken into whole, the lost into guided, and the hopeless into hopeful. The believer who asks with certainty carries a light in the heart that no hardship can extinguish. But certainty is not only about believing Allah can answer, it is also about believing that He will answer in the best way and at the best time. Sometimes the answer comes quickly. Sometimes it takes months or years. Sometimes the answer is different from what you imagined, but better than what you asked for. Certainty means trusting the wisdom behind the timing. When you trust Allah, the weight doesn't break you. It refines you. It strengthens your faith. It teaches patience, gratitude, and reliance. One of the reasons people lose certainty is because they focus too much on the results and too little on the one who brings results. They keep checking signs, looking for changes, waiting for visible progress. And when they don't see it, they become discouraged. But certainty means believing that even when nothing seems to be moving outwardly, Allah is moving everything inwardly. Behind the scenes, He is rearranging people's hearts, opening doors you don't see, protecting you from harm you never knew was coming, and preparing you for blessings you aren't ready to receive yet. Another obstacle to certainty is comparing your situation to others. You might see people who got what they asked for quickly and wonder why your dua is taking longer. But every person's journey is different. Your test is designed for your growth, your soul, your destiny. Allah's plan for you is not the same as His plan for someone else. Certainty means believing that your path is exactly as it should be and Allah's timing for you is perfect, even when you don't understand it. Certainty also requires sincerity. When your request comes from deep within, from a heart that truly needs Allah, then your certainty becomes easier because your connection becomes stronger. A distracted dua spoken without presence cannot carry the same conviction as a heartfelt plea. When your mind is focused, when your heart is present, when your soul feels the weight of your words, certainty comes naturally. You feel the closeness of Allah, and that closeness ignites trust. Another important element of certainty is removing doubt in your worthiness. Some people feel unworthy of Allah's help. They think they've sinned too much, made too many mistakes, or drifted too far from Him. This kind of thinking kills certainty. Allah does not respond to your dua because you are perfect. He responds because He is merciful. He does not listen to you because you are special. He listens because you turn to Him. Your sins do not disqualify you from His mercy. Arrogance does. And certainty destroys arrogance because it places your hope in His mercy, not in your own perfection. When you ask with certainty, your words change. Instead of saying, "Oh Allah, if you can fix this," you say, "Oh Allah, you are the one who fixes all things." Instead of, "If you have mercy," you say, "Your mercy is greater than my sins." Instead of, "I hope you will guide me," you say, "You are the one who guides hearts." This shift shows that you believe in Allah's names, His attributes, His promises. Certainty also makes you persistent. When you believe Allah will answer, you keep asking without getting tired. You don't give up after a week or a month. You don't say, "Maybe it's not meant for me," unless Allah clearly closes the door. Instead, you continue because your heart knows that dua is never wasted. Even if you don't get what you asked for, you will get something better. Peace, blessings, protection, forgiveness, or a higher rank in the next life. A dua made with certainty is powerful even before it is answered. It brings calmness, removes fear, eases sorrow, and strengthens faith. You feel supported because you know your affairs are in the hands of the one who never fails. Doubt drains the heart, but certainty lights it up. Doubt makes you hesitate, but certainty makes you confident. Doubt keeps you tied to worldly thinking, but certainty frees you and connects you to the divine. When you raise your hands and ask Allah with absolute confidence that He hears you, sees you, loves you, and will respond in the best possible way, your entire relationship with dua transforms. You no longer ask with anxiety, you ask with assurance. You no longer wonder if Allah is listening, you feel His closeness. And you no longer measure your dua by how fast it is answered. You measure it by how deeply you trust the one you're asking. Being sincere and specific in your dua is one of the most important yet often overlooked aspects of communicating with Allah. Many people make dua mechanically, reciting long lists of requests without pausing to reflect or truly engage their hearts. Others repeat vague phrases, hoping that somehow their intentions will be understood. While Allah does indeed know what is in our hearts, the act of being specific and sincere is not for His benefit. It is for ours. It transforms our dua from a routine habit into a meaningful conversation, a heartfelt expression of our inner needs and desires. Sincerity and specificity are the heart and soul of effective supplication because they reveal the true state of your reliance on Allah and the depth of your trust in Him. When we speak specifically in dua, we move from a general desire to a clear expression of our needs. Instead of saying, "Oh Allah, help me," we can say, "Oh Allah, grant me patience in dealing with my family," or "Oh Allah, help me overcome this fear that prevents me from doing what is right." Specificity brings clarity not only to Allah, but also to our own hearts. When you clearly articulate your needs, your mind focuses on what is truly important. You begin to recognize your struggles, your goals, and the areas where you truly depend on Allah. This clarity is transformative because it allows you to see the obstacles and blessings in your life with greater awareness, and it trains your heart to ask for what is meaningful rather than superficial or fleeting. Sincerity, on the other hand, is the emotional and spiritual energy behind the words. It is what separates empty phrases from a living, breathing dialogue with your Creator. Sincerity is not about perfect articulation or eloquence. It is about honesty and presence. It is about feeling what you say, fully aware that the one you are speaking to knows your heart better than you do. A sincere dua comes from a place of total honesty, free from pretense or expectation. When your words align with your true feelings and intentions, dua becomes an act of worship rather than a mere request. The heart that is sincere experiences peace and closeness to Allah even before the answer arrives, because sincerity itself is rewarded. Being specific also allows your dua to be actionable in a spiritual sense. When you clearly define what you are asking for, you become more conscious of the steps you must take in your life to align with your request. For example, if you ask for guidance in your work, your heart becomes more attentive to decisions, interactions, and ethics related to your job. If you ask for patience in a relationship, you start practicing that patience daily. The specificity in your dua creates a mental and spiritual framework that prepares you to receive Allah's response in ways you might not even anticipate. It turns your requests into a path for personal growth and reflection. Rather than leaving you passive and waiting for outcomes, sincerity and specificity are also interconnected. When you are specific, it naturally forces sincerity because you cannot fake depth. Vague statements are easy to recite without feeling, but specific requests require reflection, humility, and honesty. You must confront your heart and admit your true needs. This admission in itself is an act of vulnerability before Allah. It demonstrates your reliance on Him and your recognition of your own limitations. Sincere specificity is thus a sign of spiritual maturity. A believer who understands that Allah does not respond to rote repetition, but to a heart fully present and fully engaged. Many people are hesitant to be specific in their dua because they fear that what they ask for might not come true. They worry that naming their needs makes them vulnerable to disappointment. Yet, this hesitation overlooks an essential truth. Allah responds in ways that are best for you, whether or not it aligns with your immediate desires. Being specific does not mean demanding a particular outcome. It means expressing your true need and placing it in the hands of the one who knows what is best. Your dua becomes a sincere request for guidance, mercy, or support, while leaving the method, timing, and form of the response to Allah's wisdom. Specificity with sincerity is not about controlling Allah. It is about articulating your heart fully and then trusting Him completely. The act of being specific and sincere also fosters a sense of gratitude and mindfulness. When you clearly state your needs, you often realize the blessings that already exist in your life and how your challenges could be opportunities for growth. Sincere dua teaches you patience and awareness. It reminds you that your life is not just a series of demands, but a relationship with your Creator that requires reflection, honesty, and trust. Each request, when made sincerely and specifically, becomes a mirror for self-examination, an opportunity to align your intentions, and a step towards spiritual awareness. Finally, the habit of being sincere and specific transforms the spiritual experience of dua. It moves you from a mechanical, superficial practice to a profound, intimate dialogue. Your heart becomes fully invested, your mind fully aware, and your soul fully engaged. The words you speak carry weight because they emerge from honesty, reflection, and understanding. Over time, this approach builds a pattern of conscious worship and strengthens your connection with Allah. Each sincere and specific dua becomes a stepping stone toward a more mindful, devoted, and spiritually attuned life. One where your needs are expressed clearly, your intentions are pure, and your heart is fully open to the mercy and wisdom of Allah. Being sincere and specific is not merely a technical requirement of dua, it is a gateway to a deeper, more meaningful relationship with Allah. It transforms your requests into acts of worship, your heart into a place of honesty, and your life into a path of awareness. In sincerity, your dua is heard. In specificity, it is understood. And in combining the two, you cultivate a spiritual practice that nourishes the soul and brings you closer to the one who is all-hearing, all-knowing, and infinitely merciful. Consistency and patience in making dua are two of the most critical aspects of a believer's spiritual life, yet they are often overlooked. Many people make dua sporadically, perhaps when they face a difficulty or desire something deeply, but they give up when the answer does not come immediately. This approach, however, misses the profound wisdom embedded in the practice of persistent supplication. Consistency is not merely repeating words. It is developing a continuous connection with Allah, a relationship that strengthens with regular, heartfelt engagement. Patience is the companion of this consistency, teaching the believer to trust in Allah's timing and wisdom, knowing that His response is always perfect, even if delayed. When we speak of consistency in dua, it is not about quantity but quality. It is about returning to Allah regularly, not out of obligation, but out of love and recognition of His importance in our lives. A consistent supplicant is someone whose heart and mind are trained to turn to Allah at all times. In joy, in sorrow, in uncertainty, and in gratitude. This habitual turning to Allah creates a rhythm of spirituality in the believer's life. It is a reminder that life is not only about material pursuits or fleeting desires, but about maintaining a living, breathing relationship with the one who sustains us. Consistency transforms dua from an occasional cry for help into a daily expression of reliance, hope, and devotion. Patience is the natural partner of consistency, because the human heart often desires immediate gratification. We live in a world of instant results where delays are seen as failures and waiting is considered a weakness. Yet in spiritual life, waiting is not passive, it is active trust. Patience in dua does not mean simply sitting back and doing nothing. It means maintaining faith, continuing to supplicate and refining one's character in the meantime. It is about understanding that Allah's timing is